Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Evalyn. I'm a library science grad student with a focus in youth services, and today I'll be recommending 5 young adult books for all my ballet fans out there. Starting with The Looking Glass by Janet McNally. This book follows newly 16-year-old Sylvie, a dancer at the prestigious National Ballet Theatre Academy. For her whole life, Sylvie's been following in the footsteps of her older sister, Julia. But a year ago, Julia disappeared from their lives completely. No one knows where she is or if she's okay. On Sylvie's birthday, she receives a package from her sister. It's a copy of their old book of fairy tales, the exact copy that Sylvie left behind on a family vacation years before. Sylvie believes that the book, which Julia once renamed Girls in Trouble, is a sign that it's finally time for her to track her sister down. This book is about living in the aftermath of a loved one's struggle with addiction. There are mentions of drug use, there's a depiction of a drug overdose, there is a scene in which a character gets very badly injured while dancing, there are mentions of surgery, and also suicidal ideation is discussed. If any of those things could be triggering for you, maybe look a little further into it before you pick this one up, or hey, it's okay, maybe just skip this one. This is the only book on this list I wasn't familiar with before I started doing the research and reading for this video, and it's one of my favorite things I've read in the last month. I'm a really big fan of fairy tales, so the moment that Sylvie starts to see what appear to be fairy tales come to life, what she thinks are signs pointing toward her sister, I was hooked. Speaking of fairy tales, next we have The Bone Spindle by Leslie Vedder. After a ruthless betrayal from her ex, both boyfriend and treasure hunting partner, Vi no longer believes in true love, which makes it kind of awkward when, during a treasure hunt, she pricks her finger on a bone spindle and comes face to face with Briar Rose, a witch prince who's been under a sleeping curse for 100 years and believes Vi is the true love prophesied to save him from it. One of my favorite ballets of ever is Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty, so of course I had to include a Sleeping Beauty retelling in my ballet books video, and this is a great one. It's the first in a Sleeping Beauty inspired trilogy that also pulls from a couple of other fairy tales as well. Vi and her treasure hunting partner Shane sort of accidentally rekindle a hundreds of years old witch conflict and get swept up into the action, and this book is so fun and fast-paced and adventure-y, and I just really love it so much. All right, next we have These Feathered Flames by Alexandra Overy. The twin heirs of Torin were separated at a young age, one destined to become the queen, the other destined to become the Firebird, a legendary creature that keeps magic balanced within the kingdom. The girls are brought unexpectedly back together by their mother's death. As they are forced to step into their new roles, they are also trying to step back into the role of sister. And as it turns out, their mother may have been killed by a spell whose price has been left unpaid. Are you starting to see a theme with a couple of these recs? This is the first book in a duology inspired by the Slavic folkloric figure of the Firebird, who's also the inspiration for the very famous Igor Stravinsky ballet, The Firebird. But it's also just one of my favorite fantasy duologies of the past 5-ish years. If you're a fan of sister stories, courtly intrigue, girls with overwhelmingly powerful magical abilities they're trying to figure out how to use, sapphic romance, you'll really enjoy this one. Next we have I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast Is Me by Jameson Shea. I am in a course called Teen Materials right now, where I'm learning all about how to evaluate materials for you guys, teenagers. And one of our assignments was to read a book in a genre we do not normally pick up. And for me, that's all things horror. I don't like it at all. Not a horror girly, but I am a dance girly. So when I found this, I was super excited. The book follows 17-year-old Lawrence, who's about to graduate from the Ballet Academy of Paris. And as the only black student in her class, she has had to work twice as hard as any of the other dancers. Dance means everything to her, so she's willing to do anything to achieve her dreams of stardom, including making a deal with a pulsating river of blood in the Paris catacombs. While horror is really not my bag, I did really enjoy this one. I think ballet as an art form really lends itself to being examined through a lens of horror. There's a reason that Black Swan, for example, is one of the most iconic like pop culture pieces of ballet media. What it takes and what it does to your body is so much more gruesome than like the sheen of perfection that is presented to the audience. And so that sort of like dual nature lends itself really well to horror, which is all about examining the horrific secrets behind our world, right? This book has some very bleh, gross descriptions in it. However, it also has some of the most beautiful descriptions of dance I've ever read in anything in my life. Now is also the perfect time to pick this up because there's a sequel that just came out like a week or so ago. I Am the Dark That Answers When You Call, and as far as I can tell, this is a completed duology now, so should go straight onto your TBR. Last, but certainly not least, we have The Swans of Harlem, adapted for young adults by Karen Valby. Now this edition of the book is not actually set to release until January, but I was lucky enough to get an ARC from the publisher, which means I can recommend it to you. This nonfiction book tells the story of 5 black ballerinas, all former members of Dance Theater of Harlem. Dance Theater of Harlem is a company that was founded in 1969 by Arthur Mitchell, a black ballet dancer who famously worked with George Balanchine. Mitchell founded the company because he wanted to A, give back to his home neighborhood of Harlem, and B, prove that black dancers had a place on the ballet stage. 3 of the 5 women featured in the book were founding members of the company. 2 others were first-generation dancers in the company. These women blazed trails through ballet and marked a lot of firsts for black ballerinas that were later seemingly credited to dancers like Missy Copeland, who, while a very important figure in ballet, is often treated like the first black ballerina when that is really not true. She may be the first black principal dancer in her company, but that's very different. So if you're interested in the history of ballet as an art form, if you pick up I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast Is Me and you want to know more about the historical struggles of women of color within the world of ballet, pick this one up when it releases in January. All right, there you have it. Those are 5 young adult books I think you'll love if you are a fan of ballet. If you like this video and you want to see more from my channel, remember to click that subscribe button. With that being said, my name is Miss Evalyn. I had so much fun being your almost librarian today, and I'll see you real soon. Goodbye!